BeastNet is brought to you by James Safety Services and in partnership with Beast OCR. Here we discuss all things OCR and fitness related, running, endurance, conditioning, rucking, and more. Welcome to BeastNet.
Hey everybody, it's Mike with BeastNet here, and on this episode I got with me Morgan Shulz. Morgan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, so my name is Morgan. I'm 22 years old. I just graduated from the University of Illinois back in May this year. I got my degree in kinesiology, and I ran on the track and cross country teams here for 3 years. And then after I graduated, I moved back up to the Chicagoland area now, where I'm working as a personal trainer and a physical therapy technician before I decide to go on to grad school next year in 2020. And then I also started my OCR journey this year too, which has been such a blast so far.
Oh yeah, it is. So what got you into OCR?
So it's kind of an interesting story. So, like I said, I was a college athlete for 3 years until my junior year. And then during my junior year, I received my 7th stress fracture. So I had 6 before, and then my junior year, I got my 7th one, and that was in my sacrum. So for people who don't know, that's basically your tailbone. So I was having pain in my butt when I was running, and it was just a deep throbbing pain. And then I saw the doctor, got an MRI, and then they were like, okay, it's another stress fracture. And then after that last one, they told me that it was unsafe for me to continue competing in the NCAA. So ultimately, I was medically dismissed. So that just means I can't compete anymore. So that just meant I couldn't compete in college track and cross country anymore. So what happened was I took 6 months off after that last injury, just because it was a pretty vulnerable location. So I didn't exercise at all for half a year. And then when I came back from that injury, I kind of wanted to pursue another athletic outlet a little bit. And my timeline on Instagram was just filled with CrossFit at this point, just because I was following people who were doing weightlifting, and a few of them happened to be some CrossFitters. So that kind of just got me interested in CrossFit. So 6 months after my injury, I started CrossFit, and it was fun, and I got extremely strong, stronger than I've ever been before. But after I was healed to start running again, I kind of missed the adrenaline I got from the cardiovascular activities I was doing. So I was like, what's a good way that I can combine my running with my interest in CrossFit? And then around this time too, on my Instagram feed, an ad popped up for Spartan Race. And I was like, oh, this seems pretty cool. I've heard of it before, but I have no idea what it is. So I clicked on the link, and then it brought me to my local Chicago Spartan Race, and signed up for it, and I did pretty well. I got 5th place in the elite heat, which was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So I kind of reinvigorated my interest and love for running. So I got into OCR because I was injured, basically. And so after taking some time off, I just wanted to find another athletic outlet.
That's awesome. I mean, it's always interesting to hear how people got into the OCR, and it always seems to be a fun story like that. So
yeah.
So you said on your first race you ran elite, or did you that was just your time? Yeah. Okay. So I ran one race last summer, but that was with my sister, and we did it for fun. So I wasn't doing it as a competition. I was just doing it to do it, just to complete it. So that wasn't competitive at all, but that was my only one I did. So then this summer, I wanted to take it a little more seriously. So my first elite one I did was this summer. Oh, no. So my first elite one I did was in Texas this summer, and I got 2nd. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm all over the place with my dates, but I went to Texas this summer. So my first elite heat, I got 2nd at the Super in Texas. And then I was addicted. So how many elite races? Yeah, how many elite races have you done?
I've done 6 elite Spartan races, and I've gotten the podium at 5 of them.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, well, I guess, and it was 7 including the North American race I just did, but I didn't podium there. That was competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So are you thinking about making it trying to go pro, or are you just still having fun with it at this point?
I would be lying if I said I didn't want to. I would definitely love to go pro. I would say that's been like a dream of mine for like a long time. Like ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a professional athlete, but I had no idea like 10 years ago that it could potentially be in the sport of obstacle course racing. Like when I was younger, I wanted to be a professional soccer player. And then when I quit soccer and I started track, I was like, okay, I want to be a professional track runner. And I got pretty good at track, but I mean, my injury took me out. So after my injury, I just thought like my athletic pursuits were going to be over. So I was like, okay, well, this is the end, I guess. I'm just going to do it for fun now. But then finding this sport and being like, okay, wow, I can be a professional potentially. It was just like an awesome like thing to like come across, I guess, at the end of my track career in college. So yeah, for sure, I would love to go professional in the sport.
I mean, I would think you'd have a shot if you've, podiumed that many times. So, I mean, I guess it's just kind of to keep going for it. So what are your plans for the future? Do you have more races planned like already this year, or is your season, well, how many more you got going?
I'm going to be going to the World Championships in Tahoe. So that's in like a month I think about 4 weeks. So I'll be heading out west. I'm from Chicago, so that's like a pretty decent amount of travel for me. I'm going to be flying, but it's still pretty far. So I'll be headed to Tahoe, and then after Tahoe, I'm going to do a local race. That's going to be the Chicago Beast and the Chicago Sprint. So that's the weekend after. I don't know how it's going to go, just because I'm going to be racing the Tahoe Beast the week prior, but I don't want to like miss out on a local race. So I'll do the Spartan Chicago Beast and Sprint, and then after that, about a month later, I'm going to do the Wrigley Field Stadion. So that'll be my first stadium race. And I'm excited for that just because I feel like that's really up my alley, just because it seems like to be more of a combination of CrossFit in like some sprinting and running than longer distance running.
And
I
that's
think
what I've heard.
Up my alley too.
I've heard that about the stadium. That's the one I haven't done yet, is a stadium race. So
yeah, no, I'm so excited. I know. I'm like, all those bleachers. I love running uphill. Like I love hills. So I feel like bleachers are just a different version of hills. So I'm pretty excited to do that in November.
That's awesome. So when you run in Tahoe, are you going to run with the elites, or is that your plan? Is to run elite on the rest of your races, or Nice.
Yeah, definitely. I'm running elite at Tahoe, so I guess we'll see how that goes. I know it's at elevation, and I've never been at elevation before, so I'm not sure how my body's going to react to that. But I mean, it'll be a very good experience, and it'll kind of let me know what's in store for the future, like the next few years. So yeah, I'm excited.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I was going to go to Tahoe, but actually just this week, I think I pretty much decided that Tahoe is not going to be in the cards for me. So I did Hawaii. And to push myself to get all three in a weekend, I did some major damage to my feet. So it's been over 2 weeks since I finished Hawaii, and I still can't wear shoes without massive pain. So it's like,
do you have blisters? Is it like blisters? Or?
I had blisters, but then I also had something happen before the race where my feet just swelled really bad, and I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was too much water, because, I mean, I'm a guy that, I'm not to sound bad. I usually have a drink or two, during a week. And I literally didn't drink at all. I drank water and lots of it for that week leading up to the race. And I think part of that, my feet were 2 to 3 sizes bigger than they should have been. I couldn't get my feet into my shoes. So when I did force my feet into my shoes, and then I did, 14 miles in that Hawaii heat, and I took chunks out of my heels. So my feet are just tore up, and it's one of those. I've got the Seattle Beast coming up, and I want to do that one because I'll be finishing the trifecta with my son, and that'll be trifecta number 2. But I feel if I do the Seattle Beast in the next week, that I'm just going to do more damage to my feet, and I'm going to need that time to heal, because I'm supposed to do a marathon in December. So I need to If I do Tahoe, I'm just worried that I'm going to do more damage to my feet and I won't be able to do the marathon. So it's kind of
right.
I've been weighing it in my brain, trying to figure out how not to, because I did. There's like parts of my feet right now that are numb that I still can't feel after 2 weeks. So I know I did some major damage, and I need to I need to relax and let them heal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it sounds like you need some rest because you have some races coming up too. So that's smart.
And that's kind of it. So that's kind of why I decided. I mean, and I've always wanted to do Tahoe, but it was like one of those that it's just, there's a couple local races here too that I've really been promoting, especially on the podcast and like Facebook and everything, that I want to go to and, and do. And those are in between Seattle and Tahoe. So it's like, I need to give myself that break. And I think Tahoe, I'm going to have to skip Tahoe so I can be ready for the marathon in December. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it sucks, but it is what it is. And I mean, it's taken me many years. I'm 42 and I've never been that person to think, okay, if I do this, I'm going to hurt myself more for this next race. So I'm finally at that age where I'm like, maybe I should step back a little bit and just let myself heal so that I can do the race afterwards.
Yeah.
So.
I know, right? I wish I would have told that to myself in college. I always overdid it. That was my issue. Like, that's probably why I got hurt all the time, is like, even if I was feeling something, like something nagging, I would just continue training and want to continue racing.
Yep.
That was just my attitude. Like, I didn't want to stop. Always kept going until I actually hurt myself. So I totally understand.
And it's a hard balance, because the problem you run into is like my mistake right now is I've gotten way too big. I've gained way too much weight. Is 3 years ago I broke my left foot, and instead of trying to find like a better way of doing cardio that didn't involve my foot, I pretty much just stopped doing anything.
Oh, I see.
And because of that, I ended up gaining like 70 pounds. So it was like,
oh wow! So were you weightlifting?
Yeah. So no, I hurt myself at work, but I was running. I was doing a lot of running, and I dropped down quite a bit. I was, finally down to a good weight, and then I got hurt at work, and I broke the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth metatarsals in my left foot.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That sounds awful.
So I mean, it wasn't just. It was very awful. Basically, my foot got guillotined in a ladder. So.
Oh my God.
You always know it's a good injury when you're at the hospital and the nurses are calling the other nurses over to look at the X-ray, because they're like, "You've got to see this one," and I'm like, "Oh."
Right? Yeah, they're like, "Oh, guys."
Yeah. Look what he did.
Man.
And it was
right.
So I mean, it was kind of one of those, and that's. I mean, I went for it, and I kept trying to, like, do the Spartans. I did the Hawaii Spartan in a full boot that year in 2016, but it was, but after that, I pretty much, I was walking. I couldn't run in that boot, and it was, and that's where part of the problem is I would do the races, but in between the races, I was doing nothing. And so I ended up gaining a whole bunch of weight because of it, and now I'm at that point where I've gained a whole bunch of weight, but my foot's not right. So it's a weird balance of trying to, not push yourself to get hurt, but then also saying, oh, okay, I'm hurt a little bit, I should stop. And it's like,
right.
You shouldn't stop. You just modify and try a different way to work out. And that's where my plan should have been. I should have tried, doing something, but I didn't. So.
Yeah, like try to find a happy medium with training a little bit.
Yep. All right. And now we're going to take a quick pause so we can hear from our sponsors.
Like what you hear? Make sure and subscribe and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Be sure to find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you're using YouTube, please click the little red subscribe icon, then click the little bell for notifications of future episodes. And if you could, give us a thumbs up.
Do you like challenges that are fun, tough, and might use tacos? Head on over to beastchallenge.com and check out our upcoming events, including Beasts 5K Plus, a combination of race and endurance event, and the Bucket Mile. Keep an eye on the Beasts OCR Facebook group for event gatherings. For more information, head on over to beastchallenge.com and the Beasts OCR Facebook group. You'll be glad you did.
Yeah. So the other thing you'd mentioned was your schooling. I can never say this word right. You've got a degree in, you got to say the word because I can't. What's your degree in?
Kinesiology.
There you go, that one.
Kinesiology.
How is that? Has that changed how you work out or anything like that? Because I mean, it's really, that's kind of it's physical therapy, basically, correct?
Yeah. So kinesiology is basically just the study of the movement of our human bodies and like the physiology and anatomy behind them. So, yeah, I would say I'm not really sure if it's changed how I work out, but it's made me more aware of what's going on in my body when I am working out.
Yeah.
Or when I'm eating, for example. I've taken a lot of classes on like the science of like food nutrition and bioenergetics and all that fun stuff that happens like with our metabolic processes when we eat or when we exercise. So I would say it's just like enlightened me, if anything, about like what happens when I go and run an all-out 400, or what happens when I go and do 100 pull-ups for time. Or yeah, I mean, it definitely has made me more in tune with my body too. And I just liked my degree was very fun. Like, it's true, like when you go to school and like when you're studying things you like, it makes it so much easier. So I just found that I like learning about the human body, and I took a lot of really cool classes, and like I found my interest in exercise science basically. But yeah, I would say my training hasn't changed because of my degree, but it's just made me more interested in like the science of human activity, I guess.
That's cool. So
yeah.
And you said you're going to be going for your master's coming up soon, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So originally, when I graduated, I got into chiropractic school, and I was going to go straight and get my doctorate of chiropractic. But I kind of realized I wanted to take a gap year, just because I wanted to travel a little bit and work to make some money. And like during this time, also it'd be fun to just like travel and do my Spartan races and stuff. So right now it's just like a time for me to kind of like explore and then race and travel and, I don't know, do a lot of fun things that people who work full time in the workforce can't really do. So I kind of want to just take this year to like work part time, travel, get to train, and then I'm going to go back to school in 2020. But I'm probably going to be getting my master's in public health, or something in the public health field, just to like, yeah, just like further my knowledge in like public health and health policy. So yeah, I mean, I knew I wanted to have a career in the health field, and like I did a lot of research here on my campus at the University of Illinois, and I just figured out I was interested in research and like what goes on in like the global like spectrum of humanity in like regards to the health field. So I just kind of thought that getting a master's would be a good idea. So that'll be happening in 2020. But for now, I'm just taking a gap year and then having fun and traveling a ton and doing these Spartan races. So it's been a blast. I've seen so many new places that I've never been to. So it's awesome.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I mean, that is amazing. So
yeah.
Once you graduate, well, what kind of career would that put you in?
So what I'm looking for in regards to career is probably becoming an epidemiologist. So what that means is like just the study of public health trends and like disease outbreaks. So you kind of like, so for example, you could work for like the CDC, like the Centers for Disease Control, and like kind of find areas in the world or in the country that have like specific diseases that outbreak in an area, and then try to find like methods or ways to try and stop that outbreak or figure out why it occurred. It's like a lot of investigative work. So yeah, so probably becoming an epidemiologist, but there's a lot of different types of careers in public health. So that's kind of why I thought getting a master's degree in public health would be smart, just in case I change my mind, because I change my mind all the time. So I kind of just figured having a pretty broad master's degree would work pretty well for me, just in case I decide like, oh, I actually don't want to be an epidemiologist. I want to be like a bio like statistics person, work in math. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of different avenues you can do. So yeah, I'm just going to go broad and then see what happens.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good plan. That's been one of the things I've always talked about with people is I think it's really interesting that we like have our kids really decide at such a young age what they want to do for the rest of their lives. And it's one of those things, you know, I've really thought about this because like for me, when I came out of high school, I went for a business degree because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted. I thought veterinarian, but I can't deal with dead animals. It's just weird. I don't deal with dead animals well. So, I mean, fixing animals sounded like a great idea, but second they said they might be dead ones, I'm like, I'm out. But, you know, and then it was, and then I went for business. And then, I mean, I got like, you know, I've almost finished my bachelor's, but I ran out of money. But it was one of those things is now I'm like, I don't know what I would do with a business degree. You know, I'm in construction safety. I'm in occupational safety and health. So it's like, that's the degree I wish I had, you know. So it's kind of one of those, you know, at 40, I finally decided at 40 years old what I wanted to do with my life. So it's like to force a kid at 18 or 20 to decide, it's like, I know so many people that have degrees that have nothing to do with what they do for a living.
Oh, for sure. I know. I mean, I even changed my major, I think 5 times in college. Like 5 times until I decided I wanted to major in kinesiology. And, like, I just don't get how people know, like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, when they're in high school, like, okay, I want to be a doctor. And they go through with it. And, like, I just don't get how people can decide that earlier if they even really know, or they're just, like, forced to pick something because their college makes them choose their major when they're so young. But, I mean, I've experienced a lot of different majors. Like, I was an English major. I was a broadcast journalism major. I was an advertising major. Like, I did everything before I settled on something. And I still don't know if, like, this is 100% what I want to do. But, I mean, you got to settle on something eventually. So just get some experience doing different things and, like, seeing what I like best, I guess.
Oh, yeah, and that's the hard part with college. I mean, I have one friend that's got a teaching degree and works in construction. Another friend that has a degree in Native American art.
Oh,
and
wow.
she's
Very eclectic.
and she's a makeup artist in the movies. So it's like,
so it's a little different. Her degree.
Yeah, so it just, it's always interesting to find out. It's like, wait, what? So.
Yeah, I know, right?
No. Yeah, degrees are weird, but a lot of times too, it's just having the degree. You know, I've had times when looking for a job and they're like, do you have a bachelor's degree in anything? No. It's like, well, that would be helpful. I'm like, well, wouldn't it be more helpful if I had a bachelor's degree in what I'm doing?
Exactly. Right.
Right on.
Does your business need first aid, AED, OSHA, flagging, or other safety training? James Safety Services is your one-stop shop. Find them on Facebook today at James Safety Services WA and ask for a quote on hosting your training needs.
With the Spartan races, I guess we kind of went off topic there for a bit. So do you think that do you think with that degree it's going to help you, you know, in the Spartan races and stuff like that, knowing how your body moves, how it works, and being able to do stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes and no. So, like, yes, in a sense, like, I'm very aware of where my body is in space and time. So, like when I'm running, like, I'm always conscious of, like, what I'm going to be doing next. And I'm very aware of, like, fueling. Like, I feel like I know a lot about nutrition and, like, what I need on these longer races. And, yeah, I would say yes in that aspect, but no, because I also overthink things a lot. So, like, part of me is like, okay, like, I have this strategy because I know how my body's going to be feeling at mile, like, 6 or mile 8 of this 13-mile race, but things don't always go as planned. So I do overanalyze things a lot, but I would say overall, like, yes, just because it's a good asset to have. Like, I know a lot about my own physiology and, like, how I feel, like, after I eat a certain thing. Like, I would say I've perfected, like, what works best for me. But I do also, like, overthink and, like, overanalyze constantly. But overall, I would say, yeah, like, my degree has helped. Like, I would say more times than not, my degree has been good for me in this sport.
It's good. That's good. And I know the thing what you mean about knowing what you eat, because I've learned that on races. Never eat something you've never eaten before the night before a race. So.
Yeah. That's some good advice. That's true, though. Yeah.
It is. And it's one of those things, too, is I know I see people a lot post on, like, Facebook and stuff like that, and a lot of the Spartan groups, they're like, what should I eat during the race? And it's like, what do you eat when you work out? What do you eat when you work out? And that's kind of like the big thing. It's like, do the same thing you do in your normal workouts. Because if you try adding something like, hey, I've never had sport beans, but I'm going to take them with me on the race. It's like, you never know how your body's going to react to whatever's in those,
I think part of me thinks that, like, these people are just looking for an answer that's going to be like, oh, this is going to make me feel really good and, like, perform really well. Like, I don't know. I just feel like people are always trying to find what are other people doing? Like, does it work for them? Well, if it works for them, then I'm going to feel great. But, I mean, when in reality, it's just everyone's physiology is different. So it's like, what works for you? Like, what do you usually get on a daily basis is what will work for you during a race.
Oh, yeah, because I've heard so many times where people are like, oh, this is what I use in a race, and it's amazing. And I'm like, I tried that once, and it did not go so well. So for, like... Exactly. That's why you got to really kind of try in your races, and that's kind of what I did. Because before I hurt my foot, I did a lot of running. I was running marathons and half marathons and stuff all the time. And that's what I would do during my training days. If I got a new, like, my favorite thing is sport beans. I love sport beans. But if I got something new, if I got something new, I would always, like, during my training, I would try it. And see how my body reacted. Because the last thing you want is to be in the middle of a marathon or a half marathon or a Spartan race or whatever and eat something that your stomach doesn't agree with.
Oh, for sure. Training is the place where you can make mistakes.
Yeah. It's the same with, like, shoes and everything like that. I've seen on so many times with people on, like, Facebook groups that are like, hey, I'm doing, a beast next weekend. What shoes should I get? You probably should have got those about 2 months ago, and broke them in already. Right. You're in trouble.
Yeah, like your feet are gonna hate you after if you just break out a pair of new shoes for a race. Like that's not the move, but you live and you learn, I guess.
Yeah, it is live and learn. So it's kind of one of those. It's always funny. I just love. I mean, are you part of those groups on Facebook? Any of those that are I'm on West Coast Spartans because of course I'm on the West Coast, but.
Yeah, I'm part of the Midwest Spartan group. I think it's Midwest Spartan. Yeah. And, like, I'll occasionally look at it. Some of the things are funny, I think. Just the things about like, the nutrition. I just think those are funny, but... Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Entertaining.
Because it's like we just said. It's like we just said. It depends on the person. It's one of those, I mean, I'll be honest, and it sounds horrible, but I had my like, I don't know if it's my ritual every night before a race, and it sounds completely wrong, and everyone always told me I was completely wrong, but it worked for me, and it was, I would go out for a steak dinner, steak and potatoes, and a whiskey and Coke that night before a race, every time, and it worked. And the one time I didn't do that, I did not feel right when I went to go do a race, and it's like, everyone's like, you're supposed to carb load. I'm like, carb load doesn't work for me. It just makes my stomach hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like, imagine if you were to put that in the group and be like, "Oh, what should I eat the night before?" And you go, "Well, I'll have a whiskey and Coke, have some steak," and people would be like, "Oh, you're crazy." Be like, "Well, it's whatever works for you. Like, this works for me, and it might not work for you, but yeah."
Yeah, and see, for me, it's like the carbs. I don't eat a lot of carbs in my life. I mean, I'm just not a carb type person. So for me to carb load the night before, I feel sick the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of like, my body's not used to that. So it's not, it's never the same answer for everybody. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do the night before a race? How do you prepare for a race?
So I try to do the same. So do you know what Normatec boots are? Like those recovery boots?
No.
Okay, so basically what they are is like they're these blood pressure cuffs that you put on your legs. So they're like leg sleeves.
Those sound amazing.
You just put your legs in them. Yeah, they're incredible. So what I'll do is I'll do like half an hour. I'll put my legs in those like recovery boots, and I'll let them go. So like for 30 minutes, what they do is they just squeeze your legs super tight, and it helps like promote blood flow. So if sometimes your legs feel like crap after you do a run, or like there's a lot of lactic acid in them. Like they help like relieve or help increase the blood flow in your legs and like remove some of the lactic from workouts and runs. So I do that as a ritual I try to do it most nights, like most days of the week, especially after hard workouts, but definitely before a race, I'll do it for at least 30 minutes. And then I always eat the same meal. The night before, I'll have chicken, rice, and broccoli. And it sounds boring, but like I like it. It works for me. I'm a huge vegetable person. Like if someone were to ask me like, what's your favorite food? I would say vegetables, probably like any vegetable. So I eat a ton of veggies every day. I'll eat like 3 servings of broccoli with my dinner, then a big serving of rice, and then some nice grilled chicken. So that's my go-to meal before a race. And then with those recovery boots, like I better be having a good race the next day.
I said those recovery boots sound like a good idea. I think I've had something similar when I had to go in for a surgery, and they like put them on my legs to keep like the circulation while I was laying in bed. But,
yeah. Yep. Those are probably them. Or similar.
That sounds amazing. I might have to look into those. So.
Oh yeah, I got that. I mean, so if you get the Normatec brand, like you can get branded ones, and they're like $1,200, which is just insane. But I got ones that are off-brand, and they were like $180, and they're the same thing. They're just a different brand. So I saved like $1,000 by getting the off-brand Normatec on Amazon.
I said 180 sounds a lot better than the 1,200. So. yeah, and I was about to drop $1,200 because they're that good, but I found them for way cheaper, and it's the same deal. So, I mean, I highly recommend them, the cheap ones for sure. I'm definitely gonna have to look into those. That sounds like an amazing thing. I've been trying to walk and run and jog more. I've got an elliptical, and I've been wearing a weight vest and trying to do more physically. But yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So do they work on just your legs, or does it go down to your feet?
Yeah, it goes down to your feet.
So that's what I've been trying to figure out.
Around your feet. Yep, it'll wrap around your feet and then go all the way up to like your mid-thigh, I would say. And then you can get some that extend all the way up to your hips, and then you can get some for your arms too. But I only got the ones that go up to your thigh. But they have optional add-ons.
See, I think I would like them for the foot. That's been my biggest issue, is that foot injury, trying to get that to go away. Yep. I'm going to have to look into those.
Yeah, I think it'll be useful. Yeah, it'll be useful for you, I think.
Yeah. Nice. So, so you're doing the Beast in Tahoe, correct?
Correct. Yep. So that'll be my second Beast ever. So my first Beast was at North American Champs, and then this will be my second one.
Right on. And you're doing so you'll be racing that Sunday, because you're racing with the elites, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's going to be Sunday.
It's going to be awesome. I'm going to have to watch that one and see how you do. So
yeah,
I'll be watching. I want to see how you do with that.
Excited. Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.
It'll be a blast. Yeah, it'll be fun to be in California too.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, I mean, really listening to, talk to you and everything else, kind of looking at stuff. I mean, I feel like you're going to be that person we're going to be hearing about soon, taking the OCR world by storm.
I hope so. Thank you.
So have you done any?
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I hope so too. So have you done any other races besides Spartan? I mean, is Spartan kind of the one that you've... I've heard about Savage. We don't have them on the West Coast. It drives me nuts, but because I keep hearing about how amazing they are, and I'm like,
fun.
Oh, see,
I did one. Yeah, I did one with my friend this summer just for fun. So we did it in the open heat, just like in an afternoon, because it was like 20 minutes. It was literally 25 minutes from where I live, like back in Chicago. So we were like, well, let's just go and do it, and it was so fun. Like, the whole venue was amazing, and I like the fact that it was obstacle completion. Like, it just makes sense to me. Like, if you're doing an obstacle course race, to, like, have to get through the obstacle. So you just kept going on until you get it through. Yeah, like, it just
I have that same feeling.
So, I mean, yeah, like, so you would have bands, and, like, if you didn't get it, you would, like, give up your band if you're in the elite heat, I think. But I mean, for the open heat, you can go through it as many times as you want, but the obstacles were amazing. Like, you're very challenging. And I saw a bunch of things I've never seen in a Spartan race, because even though I've only done Spartan really for this summer, like, I'm getting used to the obstacles. So, like, none of them are challenging me as much as the ones that Savage Race were, like, this summer. So it was a good break from, like, the same obstacles over and over again at the Spartan race. But I highly recommend it. If you come out, like, I don't know if it's like a Midwest thing, but if you come out and travel to a Savage somewhere, if you're in the area by a Savage race, you should totally do it.
I definitely want to. I mean, that's one I've heard of. That one and Bone Frog are the other two that are like East Coast, Midwest ones that haven't made it out to the West Coast yet. That I've been watching, waiting for them to come out here, because I want to try them. Because I mean, I'm a Spartan guy. I've been doing Spartan since 2015, and I love Spartan. But I've done some of the others. I've done Warrior, which obviously is no longer. They just went under. There's a couple of Rugged Maniac. Some of the other ones. I've done some of the other ones that are fun, and I like having the different options. Of races.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And so it's kind of, so we've been looking at the, Savage race. We've been wanting to get them out here. There's another one out of Alberta, Canada that I keep hearing about. X-Warrior is supposed to be an amazing one out of Alberta up in Canada. So I want to get up there. So that's kind of what I've been looking at for like next year is, still doing my Spartan races, but looking at also some of those traveling to some of those other ones, I know there's one in Savage in Florida and stuff like that. So I think I can convince my wife to go to Florida. Some of the other places I don't know. Chicago, and I don't know if I can convince her to go to Chicago, but I convinced her to go to Florida.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Chicago's cool. It's an awesome city, but Florida's warm, so I understand.
I could go to, I have friends in Chicago. Chicago, so I'd have places to stay. I have a crazy friend named Frankie in Chicago. He's kind of weird, but yeah.
Weird's cool.
Yeah. Oh, so you've done the Savage race, and then I know you said that, when you were racing in NCAA, did you just race NCAA, or did you do marathons and stuff like that? Or was it just kind of the NCAA?
Yeah, it was. So when I was in college, it was just the NCAA, because if we did races outside of it, we would get like punished, or like we weren't really allowed to. So when you're in the NCAA, or at least at our university and probably in the Big Ten, you couldn't compete outside of it. I don't know. There's a lot of weird rules with the NCAA. So yeah, when I was in college, I only competed for U of I couldn't do anything else.
Wow. And what races did you run? In track and field.
So in high school, I did the 300-meter hurdles and the 800, and then I was also a sprinter. So my best event probably was the 300 hurdles or the 800. I won state in the 800 in high school, and then I was an All-American. I was an All-American in the heptathlon, actually. So my best event was probably the heptathlon, but I never pursued that in college just because I didn't really like it. So I was good at it, but I didn't really want to continue doing it. So in college, they kind of moved me up. So I was just an 800-meter runner, and then I did cross-country. And then in indoor season, I would run the 600-meter, which was probably my favorite event in college because it was just an all-out sprint for as long as you could hold on, basically. And I like that type of pain.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. You're definitely an OCR athlete. When it's just,
for sure. Yeah.
I like that. I like that kind of pain. Yeah, there's something wrong with you. You're definitely an OCR athlete. But
I know, right? It's a weird thing to say, but it's true. It proves you're working hard. Like when you feel that much pain and burning, you're like, okay, I'm doing this right.
Yeah, it's very true. Oh. So, yeah, that's crazy. I was one of those. I never did, past junior high, I never did any sports. I blew my knee in junior high, and that kind of that ended my sports in junior high. I was a baseball player, and I played left field. And running for a ball in the left field, I put my foot in a gopher hole while I was running for a ball. And completely hyperextended my left knee. So it was pretty much one of those. Yeah, it was my 8th grade year in junior high. So my freshman year in high school, I completely missed sports because I still wasn't. I was okay to walk with like a cane, basically, but I couldn't run.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until my sophomore year where they're like, okay, you can run again. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. You know, it was like I hit that point where it was so long without doing sports that I found other things, you know.
Yeah, okay. Right.
I found other things to keep my time. And then, you know, I played racquetball and tennis until my 20s, and then I blew my right knee in my 20s, and that was like the end of all that.
Oh,
so, yeah, I'm an injury prone. It's bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can relate to the injuries. I had 7 stress fractures.
Yeah.
So I totally feel your
pain. And how do you deal with that? I mean, it's not to sound bad, but 7 stress fractures, were they all in different areas?
Yeah, they were all in different areas too. So I had 1 in my metatarsal. I've had 3 in my shins, but they were all in different parts of my shin. So like I had 1 in my left tibia, and then 1 in my left fibula, and then 1 in my right tibia, and then I had 1 in my femur. So that one was the worst, like pain-wise. Like that one was in high school, and I kept running on it until it almost cracked. Like I could have ended my like entire athletic career if I would have let my femur crack, because that would mean surgery, and I would have had to get a metal rod in my leg. So that one was painful. And then I had 1. My last one I ever got was in my sacrum, and that one took me out the longest. So that was like a 6 months of absolutely nothing. So, and that was like right at the end of my career. So how I dealt with them is like, I just did a lot of cross training. So for all of them, I was in college, and I would actually get programs from my athletic trainer and my coach. So I would stay very fit. Like when I was cross training, I would be in the pool for like 2 hours, or I'd be on the bike for 2 hours, or I'd be ellipticaling for an hour and a half. And then I would do my strength training, and then I would go see my athletic trainer, and then I would go get a massage, and then I would go to the doctor. Like I stayed on top of my training when I was hurt, like probably even more than when I wasn't hurt. But it kind of like built up my resilience and perseverance, like while I was injured. Just because coming back from those injuries, like I was not running more than I was running, like in my college career. Like I was always hurt. So I just kind of learned how to deal with, like disappointment, I guess, in regards to my athletics. Like, I don't know, I just became a very resilient person after being hurt all the time. Like, I would do all my cross training, and I would stay as positive as I could with my teammates, but it was just kind of my life is like, that's just how it was, like, in college. So I got through it. I got through all of them, but it was very tough. I'm not going to say it was easy to cross train for 2 hours a day for 3 months in a pool. But, I mean, I had a pretty good support system here, like with my coach and my teammates. So, I mean, it made it worthwhile. After my last one, though, I thought I was going to be done with athletics like forever, just because it was such a big injury, and it was pretty rare. Yeah. Like, the doctors didn't know. They had no idea why I had a stress fracture in my sacrum, because it doesn't happen. Like, that's just not a place where people get stress fractures. So, I mean, that's why they ultimately dismissed me, is because they couldn't figure out what was going on, like why I was getting these stress fractures. So I kind of just felt thrown to the wall, and I was like, well, I mean, I'm not going to be able to run again, I guess, ever. But I kind of like found a healthy way to do it. So now I just do a lot of strength training, and I run definitely still, but it's not every day for sure. And when I'm running, I just am very cognizant of what I'm doing. So I run for a purpose. I'm not just running to like vlog miles. Like I'm running to improve my aerobic endurance. Like I go on very specific runs. Like I'll do a tempo run, and then I'll do a long run. But everything in between, I just cross train. Like I use the assault bike. I use the rower a ton. So I mean, I have different methods now to be more of a smart athlete, I would say.
That's good. I mean, I was kind of wondering that. It seemed not to sound bad, it seemed odd to get that many that many stress fractures. That it was kind of,
Yeah, it's very odd. Yeah, it's not normal.
It makes you wonder if there's an underlying issue, but yeah, so, yeah. Well, I'm glad to see that, you've decided to start doing the OCR racing and stuff like that. So sounds like you're going to be, like I said, I expect to hear your name more and more. So I can't wait to see that.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I hope so too.
Do you plan on doing any other races besides Spartan, trying any of the others? Like I said, you did do Savage Race. I mean, like I mentioned, there's Bone Frog, I think, out on the East Coast, and Tough Mudder, of course, which is, I don't know, Tough Mudder is weird, but it's more of a team sport than anything. But from what I understand, I've never done a Tough Mudder. So, yeah, I would say Tough Mudder is a little weird, but I did do 2 Tougher Mudders this year. So, like, the competitive version, like, in air quotes, it wasn't really competitive, but, I mean, I won those 2, which was fun. But, I mean, I'm always down to try anything new. Like, if there's a local race or if there's one that I haven't heard of and it's, like, a decent driving distance away, then I'll totally go and try. But I would say right now, just Spartan races are, like, the tier of obstacle course racing, like, the top tier. So I try my best to, like, get out to as many of those as possible. And, like, along with that, like, there's the Spartan Pro team, and that's something I'd really like to try to get on. So I feel like exposing myself to as many Spartan races as possible is probably my best option. So probably sticking with Spartan, but I like trying new things. If you keep hitting those podiums, I'm pretty sure they're going to take notice of you pretty soon if they haven't already. So
yeah, I hope so.
I mean, if you got 5 podiums already, so yeah, which is impressive. So
yep. Thank you. Thanks.
That's amazing. So we're getting kind of towards the end of time here. Is there anything you want to tell the listeners, in closing?
I would just say, like, if people are on the fence about trying OCR, or if they're, like, not sure if they should try it, I would just say dip your toe in the water. Like, find a local race. It doesn't have to be a Spartan race. Find any sort of obstacle course race. It doesn't even have to be an obstacle course race. It could just be, like, a run. Or, like, just find something that, like, makes you excited to go out and train. And, like, just try something new. Like, I found once I dipped my toe in the water in, like, Spartan races, like, I was just addicted. Like, I didn't want to turn back around and, like, try anything else. So I would just say find the thing that lights your fire and do everything you can to achieve your goals. And, like, along those lines, I would just say set small and manageable goals and get after it. I mean, this sport is so fun. I feel like it's a growing thing and it's becoming more popular. So it's cool to get in it right now when I feel like it's in its infancy. So I would say to people who are on the fence, just try it. And I feel like you won't be disappointed.
No, I agree. Just get out and do it. So
yeah.
Right on.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been a blast talking to you. And like I said, I expect to hear your name more often. So.
Oh, thanks.
Perfect.
Yeah, well, it's been a blast. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, anytime. All right. Thank you, Morgan.
Yeah, of course. All right. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook. Like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. This show is brought to you by James Safety Services in partnership with Beast OCR. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you like to hear. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or at beastocr.com.